Welcome back, everyone. This is David, Trading Stream. How y'all doing today? Doing good. So I'm gonna break down some charts, take a look at some price action. Let's start with the bubbles. The bubbles. Floki leading the way. I was gonna say Zcash, but Floki leading the way at 22%. We know why. The Elon Musk tweet. I would highly encourage those of you that have a position in Floki and you decided that the next pump I'm going to sell, this is probably a good pump to kind of sell. And so that's just my thing. If I had Floki and I was looking for an out, this would be the perfect time. Zcash up 17.3%. Dash Privacy making another run in the top 100. And then let's take a look at BTC. We kind of prefaced this in the morning show, but very, very important here that Bitcoin got a bounce at the 200-day moving average. As you can see here, a beautiful bounce. Again, the level we need to stay above to invalidate this potential bear flag. I know I just took it away, but we'll throw it back on again. I'll drop a flag is 109,869, which happens to also be a high volume node. So far, it's been good, right? So far, it's been on the side of the bulls, but this could very well reverse and make a push back down to that 106.2 region. 106.2 needs to hold. If for some reason, I'll get rid of this. I'll get rid of this too for now. If for some reason we fail the gold pocket again, come back down, fail, hit our 1-to-1 at 103.8, come back and attempt to retake that 106 level and fail, we're probably going to sub $100,000 Bitcoin. Now, that is not my base case. I don't think that's going to happen. But it all depends. We're in a weird spot in the market. Where's the flow of money going to come from? Is Wall Street, and it'll be interesting to see the type of flows we see from Wall Street this week. Last week, again, we went over this on the morning show. Last week, we saw Wall Street sell around 1.2 billion Bitcoin, $1.2 billion of Bitcoin. What will Wall Street do this week? Also, what will happen to the other ETFs that are currently in the works? Is it going to take away from Bitcoin? We saw the ETH ETFs as they heated up. We saw those inflows take away from Bitcoin, right? We saw inflows into ETH and outflows from the Bitcoin ETF. And again, those of you that are looking to add to your spot bags or your long-term investments, look no further than when these altcoin ETFs go live, where are institutions pouring their money into, okay? So that's a little bit of some insight from me. Let's go ahead and open up Market Cipher. Let's take a look at what we're seeing on some momentum. Nice bounce with our RSI and our stochastics. VWAP is currently trading above 0. See that crossover and a green dot. Now, this momentum wave did not hit our oversold level, but it is close enough that if we do come up and get that trigger wave with a green dot, this could be a potential long entry for Bitcoin, but we'll probably have to wait a couple of days, maybe 2 to 3 days for this to happen. If it does happen, we did avert so far a potential sell signal on Market Cipher B. Daily looks good. Let's check the 4-hour. Money flow looks like money flow wants to cross back into the green on the 4-hour time frame, guys. We've been in negative money flow really since Saturday the 11th. Saturday the 11th. VWAP just crossed below. We just got a red dot here on the 4-hour. Now, this is on the flip side of the daily. We want to look for a potential short entry on a short trigger wave with another red dot. We'll see what money flow does. If we get a crossover on the money flow, I would expect VWAP to come back over, and I would expect we're seeing a little bit of divergence here with our stochastics and our RSI. As you can see, RSI is continuing to rally. It is above our overbought 1 level, while the stochastic kind of smoothed out and is flat, if not pointing downwards. So some mixed signals on the 4 hour. Let's check the 1 hour here on Bitcoin. Money flow is still thick in the green at 14.3. Again, looking for a potential trigger wave on a sell order here on the 1 hour. Someone said bullish div on Bitcoin 4 hour. Let's go ahead and take a look. I don't know if I mean, yeah, I guess here, right? There's a little bit of bullish divergence there on the 4 hour. So yes, you are correct. Who's that? Shenron. Shenron. There is some bullish divergence on the 4 hour for BTC. Let's see if we can spot something similar on the hourly time frame here for Bitcoin. We're measuring the lows, right? Here's our low. Then we take it to this low. So yes, there's some bullish divergence on the 1 hour as well. Let's check price action on the 4 hour and the 1 hour. We checked our momentum. Let's check price action now. Potential inverse head and shoulders if we do come back down. You guys can see here, we retested this large volume node. You can see this red line going across. Well, now it's kind of shifted, but if we kind of bring this thing in a little tighter, we have a large volume node sitting right around 1097, which has already shown that this is where the bulls are stepping in, as we've kind of gotten, because I'll zoom in here, got a little bit of a retest here on this volume line. As you can see, it shifts up and down, and above us, you're looking at 113.1. And this is where Bitcoin's price kind of consolidated and ultimately fell. Consolidated a little bit, ultimately fell. But this one looks like it was on the 4 hour. We're coming into a potential bear flag pattern, but that price has reversed and we've taken out this high here. So structurally on the 4 hour, the structure of Bitcoin has changed. Let's go ahead and get rid of these brush strokes we just put in. We'll get rid of those. Let's get rid of our MA ribbon. I don't like to use that on the daily time frame. Let's throw on our Lux Algo. See if it's any sort of gaps that need to be filled. And for this exercise, let's get rid of our volume as well. Looking for a break of structure, looking for a change of character here on the Bitcoin chart. Not seeing yet. We have tons of gaps to the upside here, you guys. All the way from 114 up to 121. You guys know gaps do tend to be filled. This is on the 4 hour time frame. Just beware where Bitcoin consolidated, where that large volume node was. There's a large order block. Around 34% of all Bitcoin traded happen at this level. And that level is 112.7 up to 113.8. So about $1,000 range there. And we had 2-to-1 sellers versus buyers. And you can see how strong that was as Bitcoin ultimately fell. After it tapped the top end of that range to its previous week low, it dropped around 8.5%. And so on the way back up, that is a level that we're going to be keeping our eye out on. If you are in a long from the bottom here at around 106 and you haven't taken profits yet, I would highly encourage you to set an alert at 112.73 and look to potentially take some profits there on your trades. Now, I am not currently in any trades right now. We were in a Bitcoin short that got stopped out, which is fine. If I'm short Bitcoin on charts, I do have Bitcoin in spot. And so I make money either way. if I'm in a Bitcoin short, right? Spot goes up, I make money in my portfolio. If Bitcoin goes down, I make money trading with leverage. That's the 4 hour. Let's check the 1 hour time frame. We'll get rid of those. We'll get rid of you, and you can go bye-bye as well. Okay, beautiful. Order blocks matter, my friends. 1 hour, large order block, 2-to-1, sellers versus buyers. What did Bitcoin do? Had a massive liquidity grab. As you can see, kind of boxed out here on this red wick, forming a little bit of an M pattern here, right? Bottom, come back. Should be coming into a potential bear flag. And if this pattern plays out, which it hasn't, right? You have double tops. We failed to retain this low here at 110.9. We are attempting to retake it right now as we speak. Bitcoin is trading at 111.1, but the session has not closed. And so I've learned this the hard way using some sort of, multiple indicators, is you wait until the trading session or whatever candle you're on is closed before you make a decision on which way you're going to place your trade. But this looks like it's setting up to be a potential M pattern break to the downside. And if this does play out, we'll see where this candle lands. You're looking at a Bitcoin drawdown back to 109.1 from 111. So high margin, high leverage, should make a little bit of money there. But nothing to me on this chart is confirmed yet on Bitcoin. And also, we do have a gap down here that should fill. This is between 109.1 and 110.1. So about $1,000 gap there to the downside. After this explosion and break of structure on the chart here, we took out this high at 109.690. And so just beware, okay? All I'll say is beware. I am with Magic here on structurally changing from a bear trend to a bull trend for Bitcoin, and really for anything, but mainly Bitcoin. Previous week high, you guys, that's a very important level, 116.2. I think the level we talked about with Magic was 117. You want break of structure on the Bitcoin chart to flip back to bullish. 117 is where you want to be living above. And again, your moving average, your 200-day moving average, 106.3. Those are very, very important levels to take a look at actively, especially if you're trading. Rusty Bot said, David, please take Bitcoin on daily and overlay a Wyckoff distribution pattern. I don't mess with Wyckoff, my friend, and so I don't want to make an ass of myself. I don't use Wyckoff. I don't know much about Wyckoff. And so I've seen some things, but I haven't really dug into it to where I can confidently give you my thesis or analysis or even throw it on a freaking chart. So yeah. All right, let's take a look at Bittensor. I was looking through some old tweets here. And let's scroll down here on our Twitter page. I tweeted, where was it? It's not much further. So on the 12th, 460 incoming for Tau. And well, we tapped 460. So it's on the 19th. Actually, on the 14th, we tapped 475. And then it's here, guys. I promise you, it's here somewhere in the depths of our Twitter page, right here. Bought more Tau at 322. There was a comment from someone that said, man, I have my money in Zcash. I think they said they bought it at 50 or 60 bucks. They said they rotated it over to Bittensor because I was talking about it and being bullish about. First and foremost, never ever, whether it's me, Rob, or your favorite content creators, never make your financial decisions based off of what they're doing. Simply take the information they give you and add it to your own playbook. That's it. Simple, right? We all take accountability for our own actions. We all take accountability for our own investing. But now, obviously, Zcash has gone up a lot. Bittensor, if you caught it at under $300, you're sitting really pretty. Bittensor is at 424. I am still adding, and while the markets were bleeding and everything was down, Bittensor did something that was very, very important. It tapped the bottom end, or it tapped this trend line here, which as a whole, you can see, this is a long-term consolidation pattern where Bittensor broke out. It had that initial rally up to 480, and then Friday happened, the Friday massacre. Even with the Friday massacre, Bittensor got, well, this was the Friday massacre actually. We had a breakout and then we broke back above it. We came back down, confluence with our trend line in the bottom end of our MA ribbon here, our third line, which was sitting right at 340, and we tapped it. Not only did we tap it, we printed a hammer candle at the bottom of a big downtrend, and we pushed back up, potentially coming in to a bull flag pattern here on Bittensor. I'm telling you guys, it's Bittensor season. The halving is coming up. Subnets are at 1-to-1. Subnets are at 1-to-1 versus root. Alpha versus root, it's 1-to-1. What does that mean? That means it's at the very bottom that it could possibly be. Very much lower these subnets can go. And so if you want very high risk, but very high reward, and if you have Bittensor, look to potentially get some exposure to some of these subnets. Okay, and you can go to, here, I'll just drop this link in the chat. You can see how the subnets are performing, what their emissions are, what their liquidity and volume is, and pick ones that have obviously volume, but also their emissions, right? You want to take a look at their emissions. And I've done a whole tutorial video for our Patreon members on how to do this step by step, whether it's through a wallet browser extension. But there's tons of great subnets here, guys. And if you guys missed it, Barry Silbert and what is the name of that? Yuma Group. They're creating a essentially a hedge fund or a place where people can invest money in and get exposure to multiple Bittensor subnets. Which ones are they going to pick? Shoots, Ridges, Sports Tensor, obviously Yuma's one. There's a bunch of different ones. Targon's been getting a lot of hype lately. But this is a great place for you guys to come. Subnet 44, Score, right? And Computer Vision, what they're doing. This is such a massive growing ecosystem. Do not sleep on it. I would equate this to, and I don't want to say meme coins, but that sort of risk versus reward. Just be careful. There's nothing wrong with just holding your Tau and watching it appreciate in value. I do think Tau gets to at least $1,000 by the end of this year, if not more. And so I am highly allocated to Tau. And when you look at the chart, again, one thing I will say though is we failed to take out this high, so we put in a lower high. Let's see what the RSI is telling us. Nada. It's not telling us anything. Let's check Market Cipher. Let's go down the time frames. This is the daily on Market Cipher, expanding money flow to the upside. All right, this is going up and to the right. Momentum indicators also, or momentum waves also failed to make new high. That's okay. VWAP. So we have confluence here, right? Everything is telling us the trend is intact. Bounce on our momentum indicators. Our momentum waves, right? We got a green dot. VWAP and money flow are both trading above our zero line, which is what you want to see. That's on the daily. Let's check the 4-hour time frame. A little bit different on the 4-hour. Looks like the upward momentum is losing a little bit of steam here. You also have VWAP crossing below zero. Money flow trending to zero. We're looking to see that U-turn recovery here, or that U-shape recovery. Also, shout out to CP. $25 super chat said Sol and Link. We'll take a look at those. In fact, because I tend to forget sometimes, I'm just going to pull up those charts here, and then we'll go over those right after. Right after Bittensor. Just give me a second. Here's Link. And let's find our friend Solana. There you go. All right, so we'll look at those next. This is the 4-hour. Let's check the 1-hour on Bittensor. Let's get rid of some of these. There we go. Hourly's telling us there's probably some more downside. We're not seeing this momentum wave make any sort of turn, right? What you want to see for a quick bounce back is you want to see those sharp momentum waves, right? Those are your V-shaped recoveries, right? We still have a chance to do that here. What you don't want to see is these kind of like rounded out recoveries to the upside, because typically you'll end up failing. Not failing, but typically that tells you that there's not a lot of momentum. There's not a lot of buyers stepping in out on the lower time frames to pick up Tau at these levels. If you are looking for I don't want to call it a perfect entry, but a very good entry on Bittensor, maybe we get it, maybe we don't. I have two levels. One is 373 and the second one is 344. I'll tell you what. We got to be careful how I choose my words. If I had zero exposure to Bittensor, I had none in my portfolio, and I was super bullish on it. I just want to wait for the perfect entry to YOLO in 100 grand or 50 grand or 10 grand or a majority of the dry powder have on the sideline. 344.40 is what I'm targeting. If we are blessed with another potential entry at 344, I would be going, I don't want to say all in, but I would be allocating heavily to Bittensor. I really believe in this project. I don't think AI is dead. In fact, I think AI is going to continue to rally. Everyone keeps talking about an AI bubble. You'd be surprised how big these bubbles can grow before they ultimately pop. And when that bubble does pop, guess what? Short term, yes, it affects everyone. Medium and long term, it's actually beneficial for projects like Bittensor who are actually doing things versus companies that just slap AI on the back of their name and then raise money that way or find themselves with high market cap values. Syed said, I think it reversing from 410 to 411. Yeah. 410, 411. I don't know if that's an ideal spot to pick up Tau, but it just depends on your investment strategy. We do have a big volume gap here between 399 and 371. If we do crack below that $400 level for Bittensor, but I'm bullish on this project. We check the weekly even. Right, an even cleaner symmetrical triangle here on the weekly. Same target levels, you guys. I'll get rid of that. 344, massive volume here at 362. So we might not even get down at 344. And this is setting up for a weekly bull flag potentially. Now we can draw our fibs and we can say, hey, where is this going to end? Let's hide that. Let's hide that. And let's get rid of that. Right? What do you got? You know, I always like to target the 50, and our 50 is sitting at 391. If we cross below, you have some support at your gold pocket between 363 and 370. We'll just call it 365. And you can see what did price do here on the high time frame. Also, by the way, a little bit of a W pattern here for Bittensor. On the weekly time frame, right? Here's your first bottom. Here's your second bottom coming into a bull flag. Where's your breakout? What's the measured move here on the breakout? If we break out from the 50, you're looking at a $563 Bittensor. If this pattern plays out, invalidation happens under 391, 367. We caught resistance there on our way to when we failed to take out this high, right? And ultimately blew through it. I'm sure there were some gaps created there if I decided to throw on the Lux Algo. But 367 is your gold pocket. I would expect to see a bounce there. Also, tons of volume, as you can see here from our VRVP, coming in right at around those levels as well. And so, Bittensor, in my opinion, is for me is part of my accumulate bag. Other ones we see rallies as part of my distribution bag. Let's take a look at Link. First thing I want to see is Link trading above his 200-day moving average. It is very important. Okay, let's clean up the chart here. And we'll get rid of you. Can't tell you how important this bounce was, you guys. Chainlink is one of the few, and I'll go through some more of them. You know, in fact, let's do that now, and I promise to come back to Chainlink. Let's check ADA. ADA still hasn't broken above its 200-day moving average. Same with Doge. Doge, in fact, looks like it is getting rejected at its 200-day moving average, right? The simplest way to look at it, whether a chart is in an uptrend or downtrend, whether you should long or short. Double bottom here for Doge coming up, failing to reclaim that first ribbon on our 200 AMA. ADA, we already talked about. AVAX, same thing. XLM, looks like it broke above its first one, got rejected at its second one. This is definitely a bear flag pattern on XLM. Currently invalidated, right? Currently above 32.06, getting rejected at the gold pocket on the way back up, 33.8 to 33 cents. If we do retest those levels and you start seeing sell bids come in, I would be apt to short this thing on a potential break and fulfillment of this bear flag pattern, which it does. If it does happen, where that wick was, you're looking at a downside target of around 28.24 cents on XLM. So some alts I'm looking for shorts, other ones I'm looking for longs. Bittensor I'm looking for longs. XLM I'm looking for a short. ADA I'm looking for a short. Chainlink, potentially, it could go either way, looking for a long or a short. But we can go back to Chainlink and kind of break down some price action. Now, Chainlink's potential bear flag has been invalidated. I like to see this as well, increasing volume on the daily. Let's see if we can find any bullish divergence here on Link on the daily time frame. Yeah. We have just a smidge of bullish divergence on the daily time frame here for Chainlink. As you can see, put in a lower low. RSI is put in a higher low. That, my friend, is bullish divergence. Chainlink's looking good. If I were to say, do I think Chainlink is going to hold this 200 MA or not? I would assume that it's going to hold. Momentum looks great. VWAP looks great. Money flow, although we need some work to do here on the money flow to bring that thing back into the red. Excuse me, back into the green. It's currently in the red. We saw that sharp recovery, and then it just kind of flattened out. We want to see this thing start rolling up and crossing our zero line back to the upside. Chainlink does fairly well when money flow is in the green. I know that sounds like a obviously statement to make, but you'd be surprised how many alts, if you go down the list and you have Market Cipher, how many of them you can't say the same thing about as well. Let's check the lower time frames on Link. You guys know I like to say volume matters. Volume matters. Volume matters. 4-hour time frame. First move is a 17% drawdown. Link is currently getting rejected at this large volume node. And that is at $19 even. Let's see if there's any large order block there. There is. Look at that. Not to mention this massive gap here that is more than likely going to fill. 1727 will be the downside for a full and complete gap fill, essentially. You also have this large order block here. 40%, damn, 40% of all Link was traded here. And you can see the bears were in full control. 2-1 on sellers versus buyers. And Chainlink, again, ultimately fell around 16 to 17%. So for me, Link is probably a short, you guys. If you're looking for the perfect entry, let this thing rally another like 10 cents, 20 cents. This was, yeah, this is a clear indication of a reversal. I'm curious. And this thing gapped as well. Yeah, there's a gap here as well. You rarely see these gaps. Oh, there's a gap because of AWS, isn't there? Let's check Link on another platform. Let's check Link on Binance. No gap on Binance. Nonetheless, metrics still stay. Yep. Now some bullish momentum if I were to be looking at this, a potential bull flag here for Chainlink. And we can actually see if we can scalp a short in between here. This thing does fill out. $17.90 is your 50, which wouldn't fill that gap in its entirety, but guess what? Your gold pocket is right there, $17.50 to $17.58. So if those levels hold, this is probably a bull flag for Link. And if we want to move this up and not take it and just take it from this candle here, you're looking at around $18 for your 50% fib level, and your gold pocket sits between $17.75 and $17.82. But I'm very curious how Chainlink reacts here. If it makes another pushback up here, I'm probably going to short it. Some confluence here with our trend line, which is true. And then come back and depending on when and, you know, really when this thing starts to fill out this flag portion of this bull flag, if that is a pattern that we're eyeing, look to maybe catch a bounce at around $18.12. So for you to make money on this trade, it would have to be a high margin or high leverage trade. Either way, if you don't have a lot of capital, you kind of got to go high leverage. Obviously, very risky. If you do have a lot of capital, go higher margin, but set very tight stop losses, because if we break above, if Link can recapture $19 to $20, we're testing the previous week high is sitting at $20. You're probably going all the way back up. You're going to fill this gap at $20.46, and you're more than likely coming back up to around $23, where we saw a big liquidity grab from the bears here. This was back on around $22.77. Massive liquidity grab. You can see this one failed, and then we ultimately fell all the way down. This on the 4-hour time frame for Link. So from a trade perspective, if we come back down to around $18, $17.80, potentially looking for a long. If we come back and we try to retake this $19 level, I'm going to be shorting. Also, Gina, we have someone visit. Gina, are you in? Yeah, you are. Okay, you're good. We got someone visiting studio here. It should be coming in about 5-10 minutes. So just a heads up. My boy Cash Money. Okay, and then Solana. Let's take a look at Solana. Okay, this is Coinbase. Let's get rid of Coinbase because we don't want those gaps. Solana. Let's do Binance, Spot, yes, daily, zoom out. Lux algo, buy, volume, yes, ribbon, yes. Solana showing a lot of strength here, my friend. Reminiscent of Bittensor. 2 bounces now on our 200 MA. So if you're a swing or a scalper, any of these MA lines, I think you'll be fine, right? 180, 175, or 169. RPOD, I would not long Floki right now. I'd be very careful. Unless Elon tweets again. That's the problem. We know why it pumped. It's because the richest man in the world who owns X tweeted about it. Millions of people saw it. Is he going to do the same again? I don't know. If he does, yeah, long. If he doesn't, which is more likely, then no, I would not. I would be more apt to shorting it. We can actually look at a chart, see if there's any technicals telling us which way it should go. Solana's showing strength. Let's check our momentum here. Let's check our market cipher. We're still on the daily. Money flow expanding to the upside, so is VWAP. Double bottom on our RSI. and a potential anchor trigger wave long here if this happens on a Solana long. Let's go down to the 4 hour. A little bit of divergence here on the 4 hour for Solana. VWAP down, money flow up, momentum indicators rolling over with a red dot potential trigger for a short position on Solana. If that trigger wave fills with that red dot, we don't know if it will yet. And then the 1 hour. Damn, money flow just, that's like a it's like you're driving, you didn't see the cliff, and then, oh, that's a pretty steep. That's pretty steep, you guys. And looks like we're getting a rounded bottom here on our momentum, right? We saw this, and again, guys, right? You see those V-shaped recoveries on your momentum waves? That's where you see these, right? That's where you see these kind of moves. Your 5% moves on an hourly time frame. You're more rounded, and we can look. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I am wrong. I am not wrong. On your more rounded recoveries, right? We're looking at this area here, right? And we can actually extend this out a little bit more. Your more rounded recoveries, this is price action that you see. A 2% drawdown. V-shaped recovery on momentum waves. I think it was here. Like this, where you see that kind of point, that pointy, you see big bounces. So there's another way for you guys, if you do have Market Cypher, to use this to make money. To say, is it worth it? Is this recovery worth it to try to catch a bounce to the upside or reverse to the downside? Or is this a trade I don't want to take? This would be a trade I'd want to take. You couple that with the green dot. Money flow is in the green, VWAP is in the green, and indicators are going up. That would have been a perfect, beautiful scalp trade. And so tons of different ways, you guys, we can scalp trades here. Also, looks like the McDonald's arches here on Solana. Is this a sign, fam? Should we be getting jobs at McDonald's? Oh no, maybe. Solana and Chainlink, high time frames showing strength. Solana should get a bounce. Higher high, higher low. It's obviously in a bullish pattern. I will say the 1 hour though. A bit of a rising channel, which should break to the downside. Not saying that it will, but should break to the downside. And we can even measure what that downside move would look like on a measured move scenario. 177. Oh, look, the range. Our range we were looking at. 169 to 180. That's our range, right? That is our MA ribbon range. So if we do get that break to the downside, I am a buyer. But Solana shows strength, Chainlink shows strength, and then let's take a look at Floki. Let's see if any technical indicators on Floki are flashing, whether we should be shorting or longing. Let's go to the daily. Oh, I want you to look at that. Even an Elon tweet couldn't take it past this 200-day moving average. Not good, not good. And this was on increased volume. Oh my God. Do we have some bullish divergence? Let's see. We do not. I guess here you can argue barely, right? Just barely. And we're taking the closes here. There's your lower low. There's your higher low. Little bit of bullish div here, although a fairly weak one. on Floki. But I think the more important case here, you guys, is getting that big spark and getting rejected at our 200 MA moving average ribbon. 200 daily moving average. Also, large volume coming in at around whatever the fuck, how many zeros? This level. 3 zeros and a 1. So I'm more prone to shorting Floki, although I would be very careful. I would just stay away. In my opinion, I wouldn't even trade this chart. All it takes is Elon to say something and we're all fucked if we're in shorts. And if we're in longs, all it needs is for Elon not to say something and our longs will be fucked. So, yeah. Momentum looks good, though. Money flow still in the red. VWAP trending up. Massive momentum wave. And I'm curious to see, here's what I'm curious to see on this 4 hour, is does this momentum wave round out or does it create another sharp point at the top? If it's a sharp point at the top, I would double fist short this thing, especially if we get a red dot, especially if the momentum indicators have rolled over, and especially if money flow, it's peeking its head above zero. If it rolls back over into the red, then probably, yeah, I'd be interested in a pretty big short there. So far on the 1 hour, we're rounding out here on our momentum waves. So maybe there is a little momentum left, but again, I'm not risking it. You got a bunch of trigger waves here. We'll call 1, 2, 3 trigger waves on this anchor here. Now you can have multiple trigger waves. And so far, 2 of them have worked out. 1 of them for serious money, the other one's for a little bit of gains. A little bit of a potential, kind of, not really, like a head and shoulders pattern. You can also look at this as like some sort of deformed, ugly bull flag. Here's a funny thing. It's like art, right? Charts are like art. You can make it look like whatever you want to make it look like. Well, it's a bull flag. No, it's a bear flag. Oh, it's an inverse head and shoulders. No, it's actually inverse Selson blue. I don't know. Gina, I think someone's at the door. So yeah. Anyways, Floki, watch the lower time frames. And yeah, you know, I did my show yesterday. I did a steak live show where I played some poker and I shot the shit with some of our community members. I don't think outside of maybe Patreon, I don't think I've ever shared my top 10 holdings in my portfolio in order, ever on stream. And I did yesterday. So if you're there yesterday, I appreciate you guys supporting the channel. And yeah, but if you haven't, I'd go back and watch it. Maybe some interesting ones for you guys. But anyways, that'll do it for the show today, guys. Thank you all very much for tuning in. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. We go live, news live, Monday through Friday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Trading show is Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 2:30 p.m., 2:35 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then we also mix in some uploads as well on project-specific content. Anyways, sub to the channel. Love you guys. Until tomorrow. Peace.